Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we are doing a reaction video. Let's take a look at some of the things you have been tagging me online on all my socials. Yeah, go ahead and tag me in anything that you find. Do please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and as I always say in these videos, creativity and individuality have no rules, but makeup most definitely has a theory, and let's explore that theory.
So what I do is I always start with my nose, and I draw 2 lines down my nose and a little V on the tip of my nose, and then I do a couple of lines either side as well. Now for this part I always use my fingers. I don't use a brush. Very carefully making sure that I am really keeping this center part clear of product because I want it to be lighter, and pulling the product down. So really connecting the brows and making the nose look longer and slimmer. Then what I do next is I contour my eyes. Now I am not using this product to replace eyewear, to replace my eye brick, or to replace my Kajal eyeliner. I am using this to contour the eye. This is the perfect base for you to then create your smoky eye on top of. And I do 2 lines either side, really along the crease of the eye, and a very fine along the bottom. I do use a brush for this part because I like to really buff the product in, and then I use a smaller brush on the underneath, starting on the outside but really bringing the product right into the center of the eye as well. And I do 2 lines either side of my face here. Again, I do use a brush for this part. So what I'm doing, and I'm doing this very quickly, and again this is so easy, doesn't take a long time at all. Then lastly I do a couple of lines on the temples, and I really like to buff the product in here. Now what this does, this connects the forehead to this cheek. So we're going to have a little darker shadow here, here, and here.
So that was obviously Victoria Beckham. She looks great. What I really liked about the nose contour was how she was actually focusing on the wider part of her nose, instead of, like, she did apply a bit up here, but then she just kind of blended it in and blended it out down here instead of a whole way across, which is almost customizing the contour to her nose. The cheeks, I mean, I personally don't like drawing lines. I'm so shiny, I just realized. Yes, and the eyes. People often forget. I think if you're not doing too much eye makeup, but you're doing like a smoky eye, it's a really good idea to contour around the eyes because you're adding depth and shadow to that area. I sometimes even bring it out a little bit further, bring the eyes and connect it outwards, so it's like this. So you have that really nice, like, sculpted look. It's not for every day, but it's a really good thing to do. If you want to cover your beard, here's the thing with beards, right? It's a lot of texture. So you kind of have to treat it like an eyebrow where you want to wax it down and fill in the gaps and wax it down again. The issue is with this is if you're using a spoon or anything really to go backwards and forwards on the hairs. And this is the same with even like little bits of peach fuzz. If you buff over it and you're circling and buffing, you're making the hair stand on edge. You're making them stand up more from the root, so you're making it more obvious. There was a lot of product being used there for not much of a result. You could have got that same result just blending foundation into it. So it's a case of like flatten, wait for it to dry, go over again, flatten, maybe another time, flatten it out again, and then push powder into that area. Same as your eyebrows. Otherwise it looks like a bleached beard, which I mean is kind of a look.
Yep, we're gonna test it out. Dipping into an eyeshadow and swiping that onto the face because I'm not about to potentially mess up this wing. I love a good setting spray, so I hope this works. Also love when I have the opportunity to use my fan. Then I went in and started swiping pretty freaking hard, and the eyeshadow did not budge. Honestly, not bad.
That's fine. Her wing was beautiful. There's one thing, why is this lash like dripping down my face? We can make something sit like this, sure, but what breaks down our makeup isn't coming from this way. I say this a lot, and some of you are probably sick of me saying this. What breaks down our makeup over time, most of the time, is oils coming from our skin coming out. So although it might have like frozen something here when we rub it, our oils can still congeal with that texture and with that product. It might work for some people, but for a lot of oily people, setting sprays don't work in that way. We want to block the source. Use that setting spray as your primer, after your primer, before your primer. Block that oil coming through. It works well that way. I consider this false advertising. Someone tagged me in that. I was like, you can see the glitch. Yeah, I can see the glitch. The skin's like shaking and wobbling, but also that's so diffused and like, you know, blurred out. That's not what the product looks like. That's not what it looks like. Sheglam, come on. You have enough people selling your products for you. You don't need to do a fake, completely blurred out filtered video. That's insane. That video is nice because it looks amazing. She looks great. Skin looks amazing. Makeup looks beautiful. If it was like, this is a look, not advertising a product, but that is an advert for a product. Not good enough. Exactly. It's like, there's no way. You can literally see the smoothness. Listen, as I make my way through my tags and everything like that, can I ask of you all a favor? Leave your grandparents alone. Leave them alone. They haven't come this far in life to be part of your clickbait crap. Please. Please just let them live their life instead of smothering them in makeup and making them do things and making them be part of it. Leave them alone, unless they want to, but leave them alone, please. So someone tagged me and said, please try it and tell us if it's legit. So I think I've thrown that blush away. Here's the deal. It's a terrible blush. It's an awful blush. There are some Dior products that I really like. But the truth is, the pigment's terrible. The pigment looks absolutely terrible. I get tagged in a lot of videos about pink concealer, pink blush, and things like that under the eyes. Here's why it works, right? It's because it's a brightening color. That blush, here's why it's bad, because it has no pigment to it. It's a really terrible, lightly pigmented blush. I don't know why everyone made such a big deal out of it. It was shit. So I can see that being used under the eyes in a way where it is so subtle, but I feel like it would give a really nice wash off just brightness and pink under the eyes. So I really do think that would work. I think that would be a really good thing. The blush is terrible. I wouldn't go out and buy it personally, but I mean, that's a good use for it. If you have it already. I was in the middle of taking off my makeup and realized that my camera had timed out and it didn't record the end of that video. Listen, I'm so sorry about that. Thank you so much for watching. Do consider subscribing. Tag me in stuff. Tag me in like crazy things. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to see people doing nice makeup, but we want to investigate here a little bit more. So tag me in things that you see that are like, that doesn't seem quite right. Thank you so much for joining me. Consider subscribing. I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.